So this is sort of a rain shelter. There's quite the scene beneath here. Camera is very two-dimensional, so this tree here, this pine or cedar tree, seems to grow just the right way to get a little rain pocket here. Our old Landy Lou, whose mother loves him very much, and is, even as we speak, baking him a cookie of love. Yeah. I'm coming to you from inside my testicles. I'm coming to you from the place that Kingdom Come comes from, which is a little place in China known as Tanzania. Hukafu, kakachong chang, ming ming ling ling, cuckoo cuckoo, puli, and kung fu tai mu bi, mushi mushi. My system kind of seems relieved in whatever tension was in it, and now just slight headache kind of coming on, and that tension and cardio, things like that, that is a shock, I believe, from inside my mother's womb. It's a birth trauma, but trauma is not really the right word. It's birth shock. You know, a cut is a trauma, and it heals and it goes away. But shock is different. It's a living animal. It's not like just, you would think like a book is just a bunch of words, or a movie is just a bunch of digital ones and zeros, but oh, interesting how that leaf landed. The shock has a mind of its own. And boy, does it. It's not too bad of a headache. In fact, my headaches have gotten smaller when they do occur. I'm happy about that. I hate this opening up of things that do not reveal. I don't really need to smoke, it's just, it's there. Taking a break. This is my G4 walk, so I'll be heading down this trail and then out to Corfield and then home. I talked to one woman who seemed to be single. Yeah. People, middle class people, they travel all the time and they go to places. But look at where I am. You got millions of miles, millions of square acres of Canada, and people go to other countries. To get room service in Belgium. And they always get jet lag, and radiation poisoning, and food poisoning, and water poisoning, and parasites, and food, and all. Their uncle's fucking a sex tourist or something. There's the over drinking, the overeating. I like staying somewhere all year long, so that whenever I leave here, I'll be able to say, oh yeah, I lived there. You know, I lived there. And this is what the people were like. But to be fair, it's the way people are to me. It's not the way people are to everybody. And we see things very differently. Yeah, I had a fairly stressful few months, a stressful day. But once I can analyze a little bit of shock, it starts to improve. And the midnight blues. Hey, hey, hey. Now, happy things, happy thoughts. What can I tell you, Marjorie? Coming from my testicles out here, there's a lot of trees, there's a lot of grass, there are a lot of leaves. I'm particularly fond of the colors, yellow and green. And it's bright, it's almost like sunlight. And it takes the light of a gray day, the leaves, and turns it into a sunny day. It actually is sunny. The trees have a sunny disposition. I can hear the sound of a highway, which probably sounds like highways sound all over the world, to the people who live under them, like the trolls under the fabled bridge. And I thought, as a child, who would live under a bridge? Poor troll. I guess I know why he's angry. He lives under a bridge. I love the world of a child. When I was a child, I mean, I like it. I think my favorite part of my mind is creative thinking, creative problem solving. Truly an abstract nature, but I like the idea, the realm of ideas. I like the idea of like, hey, there's a tree with a bow in it, right over here. If I had children, I would say, see how many reasons you can think up in the next 60 seconds why that tree might be curved. Now, I understand that we're not maybe getting to the real reason, but we're just thinking creatively, okay? So you teach your children to make those distinctions. It's like, we're not maybe necessarily happening on the real reason, but we're just going to think up, imagine no one really knew. And you had to just like think about it. It's like, oh, okay, let's try 60 seconds why the tree is curved. Okay, well, maybe you wanted to. Maybe there was like a huge stone there that was the same shape as the curve. Maybe there used to be like a mountain there. Maybe it thinks, maybe it had some kind of stress on it. Maybe there used to be lots of other trees growing there. Maybe there's some kind of interesting thing that happened to the soil, something that happened during a period that looks to be roughly, probably 7 to 10 years. It's fascinating. That changed maybe what kind of light that it had. Trees come and go pretty quickly around these birds. I don't know. It's beautiful though. I think it may have stopped growing. But there's a sense of joy about it, And the moss, and it takes the green of the moss and it matches some of the green of the ferns and some of the yellow. There's a lot of yellow. Yeah. Right in these pictures. My body just feels warm thinking about it. It's like, it's if I had a friend. My friend. And I've been sitting here talking about this tree, and the tree's been smiling the whole time. Smiling at me. It's nice. If they had leaves, they're gone. It's just a nice little environment. I think they're happy. All right. Probably should start packing up.
stalwart shapes. I talked to this guy who's a sociopath yesterday, and he had some nice things to say that I had to shield up really well because he projects onto me, right? And what I did is I just carefully would guide him through positive encouragement back to himself, because that's the person he really wanted to talk about. But he would basically use me as something to project upon. And this is the weakest part of his mind, which seems always to bring up his father, and that his father really didn't treat him very nicely, ever. And it sounds like he was really hard on him. He really became sensible as he got older and got some work-related trauma that his dad didn't really respect him. Or at least, maybe he didn't respect his dad. He didn't feel... He'd grown up very independent, but he had a lingering feeling that his dad had just let him figure things out for himself. And he... Sounds like both him and his dad are quite smart. And so it's strange. It could seem very odd to anyone, like why his dad wasn't very proud of him, because he did figure things out. He needed to be acknowledged for the type of mind that he had. So I take that helpful education.